Congress and Congress alone. It's the only arm of our government that really has the ability to set those conditions where private individuals, entrepreneurs, innovators, investors can risk their own sweat, can risk their own equity, and create something for themselves. Congress creates those conditions. And right now, Congress is failing to do that. When you want jobs, you don't raise taxes. When you want jobs, you don't increase spending to completely irresponsible levels. Spend money you don't have on things you don't need. You don't pass all manner of regulations that increase our cost of doing business globally. You certainly refrain from passing a national energy tax. And then if you start to pass healthcare reform, let's make sure it actually brings down the cost of healthcare. The madness has to stop. I know why all of you are here today. You just want a little common sense from your members of Congress. You want a little bit of integrity, maybe a whole lot of it. You want somebody that still believes in private enterprise, in private jobs. You want somebody that looks to future generations and not just the here and now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hear you. I understand you. I pledge to do everything I can as a member of Congress and work tirelessly to put these things into practice. Very concrete policy proposals. And I promise to continue visiting with you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is not my congressional office, and it's sure in Barren Hills, it's yours. I got to get a smile in here. I promise to do all this with a sense of great purpose and integrity. And I also promise to work tirelessly between now and November. I promise to do everything I can to leave no stone unturned to get this job done because, ladies and gentlemen, as I heard Mike Pence say the other evening when we were campaigning together, and as he probably said earlier this evening, the keys to the Speaker's office may well lie in Indiana's 9th District. We all have such a tremendous opportunity, such a great responsibility here to live in an area of the country where we can make a difference. We can literally help take back an arm of government. We can help staunch this horrible anti-business, anti-job, pro-debt agenda. We can take back our country, all of us, but only if you get involved. Only if it's you manning phone banks. Only if it's you going door to door. Only if it's you digging deep during these very tough economic times to help candidates out that you believe in. You've done so much already, and I'm going to ask you to do a bit more. Let me give you some encouraging news. Our polling looks great. It turns out, go figure, very few people want to re-elect Barren Hill. And things will continue to get better as we are able to educate the populace that Barron voted for stimulus, the job-killing stimulus, that $1 trillion piece of legislation. Since it's passed, we've lost, by some estimates, 3 million jobs. Now, only in Washington, D.C., does spending $1 trillion and losing 3 million jobs count as a success, right? The tragedy is that we were all sold a bill of goods. We were told if we didn't pass this legislation, gosh, unemployment could hit 8%, right? Well, months later, it's still hovering around 10%. And we see what's really happening here. National energy tax, also known as cap and trade. That's another winner that Barron Hill voted for. This piece of legislation will increase utility bills for every family in America $1,400. Now, it actually hits Indiana a lot harder. According to the Heritage Foundation, on a per capita basis, it socks it to Indiana citizens more than any state in the country. Let's add to this the fact that Barron Hill represents coal country. You know, in the western part of the district, there are a lot of coal miners. We even have some coal mines out there. Makes no sense. Makes no sense on environmental grounds. Now, there are people of goodwill who are firmly convinced of the science out there. We don't even have to get into that tonight. I'm a skeptic, I have to say. But let's accept the worst case scenario, just for argument's sake here. Let's accept the scenario that the Earth is warming. It's warming as a result of human activity, burning CO2, emitting it into the air, despite a lot of strong counter-evidence. Well, the solution to an international problem is not a national problem. You don't jack up taxes here in the United States, increase the cost of business, move jobs overseas in the process to places like China and India, where they'll have to build their own power plants to sustain the new factories that are built. No, by the way, the Chinese and Indian power plants are a lot dirtier than our own. So in one fell swoop, you've managed to kill thousands upon thousands of jobs. Jobs in places like Indiana, where we get 98% of our electric power through coal generation. You kill all those jobs and you make the environment dirtier. That's what this election needs to be about. Then we got health care, aka Obamacare. This is, in so many respects, a government takeover of health care. It takes away so many of our most fundamental life decisions. That's where this is headed. May well set us on a path towards a single-payer system. It increases the cost of our healthcare system in the long run. The whole purpose of embarking on this ambitious agenda was to try and bring down the cost of health insurance. And for our seniors, this is an absolute tragedy. First, we tell them, if you're Barron Hill, let's increase your utility bills. We know you're on fixed incomes, but, you know, let's support the cap and trade legislation. Then, a $500 billion cut in Medicare. Hasn't been as widely reported as I would like, but a $500 billion cut to Medicare in this healthcare legislation. We'll be talking about that as we approach November. Ladies and gentlemen, Barron Hill's record speaks for itself. It's something we will continue to talk about. He wants to talk about all manner of silliness. He wants to talk about everything but jobs and the economy and his voting record, and we won't let him get away with it. I met with a lady, this is not too long ago. It's a diner here in Indiana's 9th District. I'm not sure she'd be comfortable if I identified her by name, but we're talking about the struggle she went through throughout her life. She wasn't very old in years, 35, younger than me. And she said, you know, she's citing different programs we have at the federal level of government. Why do we have this one or that one? Why are they getting benefits? I worked so hard my whole life. I've seen tough times, my husband and I, and we still put food on the table. And she just couldn't understand it. And I stopped her. I said, you know what? Do I see a measure of pride on your face? The fact that you, through your efforts, through your hard work, you made it through these tough times. She said, absolutely. And she says, there's part of me that's afraid that if they create more of these different government programs, I'm going to be not denied that opportunity to go out there and succeed or fail on my own merits. Ladies and gentlemen, this country was built on private efforts. It was built on the sweat of wonderful men and women over generations. It was built by women like that and men like that who understand what it means to struggle, who are supported by their families and their churches and their communities, and where necessary, as a last resort, by their different levels of government. We need to ensure that we preserve that sort of society here in America. We need to preserve our most fundamental social programs. We need Social Security. We need Medicare. We need Medicaid. But we don't need trillion-dollar stimulus packages that pass out favors to all manner of different groups. So Barron Hill and I see the role of government a little differently. Barron Hill thinks government creates jobs.